I hope you guys are doing well today. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV, and welcome to the match preview for our biggest game of the season against Liverpool tomorrow. You guys, with how I do things, I like to start things by giving my thoughts and opinions on the press conference. And yes, I understand that Sarri didn't do one for the game against Liverpool. So instead of that, I'm going to be analysing some interesting quotes made by Jurgen Klopp. And I'm going to be going through what Giroud and Azpilicueta said. After that, I'm going to give my predicted lineup thoughts, and to end things, I talk all things tactics. But before I get into anything, today's video was brought to you by the One Football app. You guys download the app. I'm telling you, the convenience is a real thing. It really adds to the football experience because you get everything sent to you through One Football's alert feature. And it's so simple and easy to use. All you have to do is follow a player or club of your choice and get instant news from across Europe, information on stats, injuries, transfer news, etc. Description below is a link to the One Football app. Getting into the press conference, starting with what Jurgen Klopp had to say. He spoke about the fact that he analysed both of our games this week, obviously against Slavia and against West Ham. He was questioning about 2014 memories. Of course, we can't forget that moment against Liverpool where Giroud slipped and cost the league for them. But Klopp is trying to emphasize and reinstate that we need to create our own stories. Let's not focus on the past too much. And it does make sense because he doesn't want his players to feel the pressure when it comes to that game tomorrow. He spoke out against the shocking racist remarks made by some idiotic, stupid Chelsea fans. I'm going to be talking about that later on, so you guys don't worry about that. And most notably, he was speaking about Eden Hazard. He was praising the ability of the player, and he spoke about how Liverpool will have a plan for him, and most likely they're going to have two guys in Hazard at all moments during the game. Moving on to Azpilicueta, and he was talking about the fact that Liverpool were in party mode in that famous game in 2014, and he was talking about the fact that the players understood what they needed to do and how they kind of got energized by how they were the underdogs against Liverpool. He stressed that we need to defend well and be compact and not leave gaps in behinds. He spoke about how this squad has experience when it comes to beating Liverpool, and they're going to use their experience in the game tomorrow. And he also spoke about his buddy Marcos Alonso and how pivotal this guy is at getting clutch goals for us. And moving on to Olivier Giroud, he was saying that he feels like there's only one player that deserves to win the Player of the Season award, and that has to go to Eden Hazard. I agree with him in my opinion. He spoke about his history when it's come to facing Van Dijk, bringing up the fact that he's come out on top more times against Van Dijk than memory suggests, stating that whenever he's faced Van Dijk either internationally or in club football, he's normally scored goals. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm liking that energy, I'm liking the confidence, and I'm hoping that Giroud is gonna put in a big performance if he plays tomorrow. And to end things, Giroud spoke about the fact that we need to start the game with very good intensity and start on the front foot. And honestly, I agree with that sentiment, and I'll be speaking about that later on when I talk all things tactics. Now you guys, for the predicted lineup part for the video, I'm going to be doing things differently for today's video. I'm going to be breaking it into two parts. I'm going to be giving predicted lineups using two different teams, starting with the first one, and that's a strikerless team with Eden Hazard up front. Now, there could be some benefit in doing this, and obviously some negatives as well. The positives are Hudson-Odoi playing on the left in his best position, Ruben potentially there as well with Emerson, and maybe using a false nine system could be beneficial against Liverpool because it means that Hazard will be picking up very dangerous areas essentially, and with the support cast in guys like Ruben and guys like the wingers as well, and with late man runs from Kante on top of that, Hazard could really drag Liverpool because his movement's elite, and he doesn't get enough credit for just how intelligently he moves into positions. And I think that Hazard, knowing that in a way he'd be playing a very sacrificial game, could get the best out of key personnel in the team. And we have to think how this team could damage Liverpool. I mean, throughout our history playing against them recently, they have been playing against Chelsea teams that are very compact, that aren't as efficient in the wide areas. But Liverpool would be coming up against a very different Chelsea team, because now we really utilise the flanks with Emerson really improving our play in the final third, with Ruben being the number 8 we've missed out on this entire season, really understanding perfectly what he needs to do. And on top of that, Hudson-Odoi being a bit of an unknown factor in the league. Of course, we understand the player as fans, but with some of the Liverpool players understand how Hudson-Odoi is as an individual player? Maybe not, and maybe they might underestimate him. But the risk with using this type of team is that maybe we're putting too much pressure on Eden Hazard. We've seen in games like this that he can kind of be out the game, because if the support cast aren't going to do their thing and fully link up with him properly, it means that Hazard is going to end up being more isolated, and the more frustrated Hazard gets, the more he doesn't follow tactical instructions, the more he starts playing his own game, taking up positions wherever he wants. And if he does that, we do miss out on having a focal point up front. Let's not forget, Liverpool will be planning to stop Hazard at any cost. Expect the team to share responsibilities in making tactical fouls against Hazard. And you have to think, of course, Hazard will be a massive focal point up front, playing centrally. If he isn't in the game, it's really going to affect how we build up and break down Liverpool. Now, moving on to the second predicted lineup, and that's where we're having a striker in the system. For me, it would have to be Olivier Giroud. And I think that maybe there's more benefits to using this team compared to using a strikerless team against Liverpool. Number one, immediately, Hazard can play in his best position. And yes, I understand that Liverpool have a plan to try and stop him, but I think that in reality, it's going to be much more difficult than what they expect because of how this team plays right now. Hazard has all the perfect support around him. He has faith in his supporting cast as well. How many times does he confidently make passes to Ruben, knowing that Ruben's going to make something happen and give him the ball back? Same thing with Giroud, same thing with Hudson-Odoi as well, and the same thing with Emerson on top of that. And throughout this season where we haven't been using guys like this, it's really affected how we break down teams in the final third. And I think that if Liverpool are going to solely focus on trying to stop Hazard, all you're going to be doing is creating more spaces for guys like Ruben to do his thing and for Emerson to get in behind. And I think that number one, if Hazard's starting in wide positions, this is going to force Liverpool's fullbacks back. And I think when you're playing against a team like Liverpool, whenever you can reduce their attacking supporting cast, that's going to be a big thing, because of course it makes it easier to defend against. You know, Liverpool's fullbacks are great at making overloads against teams by making late man runs, stretching the play, running in behind. If we can reduce the amount of times they're doing this throughout the game, it'll be a huge positive for us. And I really feel that if you've got Hudson-Odoi stretching the play out wide on the right, Hazard doing the same thing on the left as well, knowing that when Hazard receives ball out wide, he cuts inside, Ruben moves into the left hand side, Emerson pushes further forward. That takes out Liverpool's players, because the benefit is we get to stretch the defensive line. And as you've seen already, we've had joy this season when it's come to doing that. The 2 goals Hazard scored came from moments like this, and I really feel this lineup, using this team, we can create more opportunities like this. And the other reason for me is that Olivier Giroud, I'm having more faith in the player, I have to admit. He's been complimenting and bringing out the best in some of the guys we're playing with, and I think that's crucial. I trust him to be competent against Van Dijk, but the beauty of him in this system now is that it's not as if he has to go 1v1 throughout the entire game because everything has to go through him. Giroud now in this system is stretching defensive lines, he's moving a lot more, he's finding pockets in which he can link up with, and I'm expecting him and Hazard to link up a lot against Liverpool and really cause them a lot of issues. And to move on to the final part of the video, we need to talk about Liverpool and what we can do against them. Now for me, when Klopp was talking about the fact that he's going to have 2 players in Eden Hazard, I was thinking, wow, that's a bit surprising to give away a tactical plan like that in a press conference. Of course, we understand that most likely they were going to have a plan like that, but to announce it publicly was kind of interesting. And for me, it really made me think about a few things. It made me think about how Liverpool approached big games against Bayern Munich's, Man City's and us. And it made me realise, what have Liverpool been doing right this season? And what they've been doing right this season is their game management and playing slightly more pragmatically. And this is why they've become more solid. This is why they don't really concede games. And this is why, even if they're not playing well, they're able to grind out wins. And something just tells me that no way in hell is Klopp going to make the same mistake that Rodgers did by going gun-ho, going all-out attack, and leaving spaces in behinds. That's not going to happen. Instead, as we've seen with Liverpool, they're a team now that are comfortable sitting deeper and hitting teams on the counter-attack. Now, that doesn't mean that Liverpool will be sitting deep throughout this entire game, but when they have to come back as a team, I'm expecting all their players to get behind the ball to minimise the spaces between the lines where guys like Hazard, Ruben, Kante do their thing. Think about it like this: if Liverpool were going to go all-out attack, it don't make no sense to have two players on Hazard at all times, because that could be very exploitable. If you've got Ruben and Hudson-Odoi and guys like that playing alongside Hazard, they're only going to have so much fun due to the space that's being created for them. But there's no way Liverpool will do that. Instead, they're going to be much more pragmatic. But the beauty of Liverpool, and I have to say the beauty of them, is just how fluid they are tactically. Now, that's something that we're quite good at, but not on Liverpool's level just yet, because they have been working under Klopp for so many years now, and they're very easily able to transition from, a high pressing 4-3-3 to moving back into their own half in a 4-5-1, just behind the halfway line, to moving all the way closer to their goal to be very defensive. And I feel like Liverpool will play with a game plan to pick their moments and play with a lot more patience. We have to realise there's a ton more pressure on Liverpool compared to us, and for me, this is where I feel like we have the advantage against them. I do feel like with the new team lineup we're seeing, it's much more efficient at everything Sarri ball. I mean, really, our pressing, Kante looks even better. Our incision in the final third looks even better. The way we utilise the flanks as well, the vertical passing options we create, and the amount of times we create possibilities for our attacking players to go 1v1 against their man. I'm feeling confident. I feel like this can be the case against Liverpool tomorrow. Of course, we have to be careful about them attacking the spaces in behind our fullbacks, but this is what I keep stressing, guys. Our team's different. If you've noticed the past few games now, when do you ever see our defensive line stretch? And when I say that, I'm basically saying, when teams get in behind the fullbacks, that forces one of our centre-backs to have to leave their position to go out wide. And obviously, you don't want that to happen, because if teams flood men forwards, it means they can take advantage of the spaces you're creating for them. But now that we've got an Emerson that has the pace to get back in position quickly and is a better defender than Marcos Alonso in my opinion, now we're seeing our front three players working harder. This past few months, I haven't seen Hazard work so hard off the ball. He has to fall back in position and pick the right moments to do that. I feel like we're not going to be as weak defending out wide now, because we have a team much more suited to this style of football. I really feel like if we want to win this game tomorrow, it's going to come down to Sarri and the lineup. That's all it is in my opinion. And there's no excuse to not see Hudson-Odoi, Ruben and Emerson in the game against Liverpool tomorrow. There really isn't any excuse, because as I keep stressing, and as I've stressed throughout this entire season, with the right lineup, it brings the best out of our better players. I've been stressing that 50% of the first team haven't been getting the best out of our best players, and we've seen the difference between Hazard playing alongside an Alonso and Hazard playing alongside Emerson. Completely different, and Hazard looks infinitely better playing alongside Emerson. But what I love about how we play now is that we're better at creating the spaces between the lines, and I personally feel now that we're a team that are going to pose different questions for opposition teams, because I don't think that they've really had the time to really understand our improvements as how we are right now. What's our real weak areas right now? Really, what are our real weak areas? I mean, the only weaknesses are our own weaknesses. And what I mean by that is, we're not going to score the chances we should be. We're not as clinical, and we still make sloppy individual mistakes at times. But now with this lineup, it's a lot more press resistant. The amount of times I've seen guys like Emerson, Hudson-Odoi, Ruben, beat the press, beat their man, and we're able to keep the ball in the opponent's half even better. All I feel we have to do is play with patience, play our game, play with confidence, go on the front foot. I feel like we can press this Liverpool team. I feel like we can combat them on the counter-attack as well. And I feel like due to the personnel, due to these guys being amazing one-on-one, we're going to have a really good advantage against Liverpool. Now, I know I sound a bit crazy, but honestly, I am feeling quite confident about our chances tomorrow. And it's not even due to the fact that history is in our favour. I just think that with the team lineup and how we're playing now, we're much more well versed in Sarri ball. And one player in particular I'll be looking out for a lot more tomorrow is Ruben. If Ruben doesn't start, I'll be livid. I don't think there's any excuse right now. For me, it's all about getting the first goal, forcing Liverpool to have to play against us, and game management. I think when you play in these style of games where everything's so tight and the teams are so close to each other, small details really matter. And I feel like it's going to be the positive approach from the start, the positive approach in the first 60 minutes, that's really going to tell us who's going to be the winner in the game tomorrow. But for me, Ruben can be that secret weapon, because Ruben can provide the same incision that Hazard provides for this team. His ability to beat a man, beat the press, create those forward running options as well. How he gets in the box on top of that, he's a real threat, he's a real menace. And I can see this guy doing to Jordan Henderson what he did to Declan Rice. I can easily see it happen. My score prediction for tomorrow, it's going to be 2. For me, I don't see us losing the game. It's either going to be a draw or we're going to win it. If it's a draw, I'm going to go for a 1-1. If it's a win, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I don't know, you guys, I'm feeling confident. I feel confident that I'm going to be happy with the team. But all of this can change if Sarri picks a stupid lineup. But you guys, that's going to be it for me today. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'm NiniFC. This is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.